And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KCMX News Media 880. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, in the house with you today here in KCMX. And thank you for joining us here in the first part of August. Joe, we are blessed today because we have two people who we have had on the show before. Yeah. Well, Lance Landers has been here before, and today he brought Tara, his lovely wife, with him to talk about estate sales, a topic that I don't care how old you are, whether you have aging parents, you have yourself want to downsize, upsize, whatever it is, at some point in your life, you're going to need their services. I don't care what it is, right? It's what it is.
And you're the producer of the show, so I see this kind of as a self-serving track for you because you had Lance in, you learned all about it, and then you went through this yourself and just completed and I had to live with Pete through the whole home sale and relocation, and that was I never heard a word about.
The easiest part of it was seriously dealing with the easiest part, I swear, was dealing with you guys in the estate sale. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Tell people how. I mean, we see you're wearing your trademark Ionic Estate Sale signs there on your shirts, but how did you two get started into this world? Because you guys go back decades with this. I mean, and you're both young people.
We were in college, University of Washington in Seattle, and basically we're going to estate sales, and then we kind of got asked to do one, and then it was pretty successful, and then we got asked to do another one and another one and another one. Moved down SOU college, did that thing, got our master's degree, went out and got a real job, and then we went right back into
selling. Yeah. And Terry, so you guys have did your whole lives together has been with estate sales.
Yes.
You got to talk this way, right? It's okay. So you guys have done this you guys have been doing that ever since.
We do. We love it. We like helping people and like working with people. So it's been really nice. Yeah. We enjoy it.
Well, you do it. You do a lot of it, and it's changed over the years. I'm sure since you started in the '90s to today, that it's a much more sophisticated kind of endeavor than. Joe, we used to do a garage sale, years ago. Let's go do a garage sale.
And that's pretty much what I thought it was before Lance came and visited with us the first time.
Yeah, much. No, it's not. For many, many reasons. Well, tell people, first of all, how busy are you? We talk about our real estate market, around, and we're hearing certainly changes are coming in the market. The great growth that we've seen simply cannot sustain, and so we're seeing the leveling off of, I think, pricing right now. We're seeing, the luxury market still kind of collapse kind of things, but there's a lot of activity, but it is leveling off. So tell people, in your perspective, how busy are you? What's going on in the estate sale world right now around Jackson in the area?
It's going crazy. We live in an area that is a retirement hub, and you've told people in the past on the show about every day 10,000 people turn 65.
Yeah.
And we see it more here than we did when we were in Seattle. Or I've called a few companies down in LA and said, are you guys getting what we're getting? And they said, of course, yes, but we see you, I've got some friends down there, and they're like, what are you guys doing there? How do you guys stay so busy? And it's just, we turned down 15 2 months ago because it was so packed, and now it's kind of leveling out now that the season's over. But the one thing to keep in mind about estate sales that a lot of people don't think is you don't have to do them in the summer. You actually do better in the winter months.
Wow. Yeah. Seriously, okay.
You do.
Yeah. So but you're turning them down because everybody's punching, much like real estate and sales. We're going to sell everything April, May, and June.
Yep.
And then by July, August, things kind of change that way there.
So it's okay. The inventory, just like, it's okay to call, Pete and Joe in December, and it's okay to call us in December. And it's more, you're going to get more customers in December, believe it or not, than you would in the summer months,
because you're competing. It's just like real estate. You got more competition in May and June than you have in November or any other time. Same way with real estate. Obviously, in the winter, good times to sell because you have less competition. The people who are out looking for homes are more serious because it's winter, and so all those things kind of balance out. who are the customers? I mean, is it all retirees or people like me who are downsizing? Who are the customers, Tara, that you guys are seeing?
It's a range of people. We do all kinds of sales. We do sales for downsizing, folks that decide to sell, a majority of their items so they can travel. We've done a lot that for folks that are traveling the U.S. and decide to sell their items at home. And
we had a nurse move into a boat. We've had many people move into motorhomes, and then we had one guy move into a motorhome, go out for 2 years, come back, buy a house. And now we're going to do his estate sale for the second time. Because he went out and bought a whole household full of stuff. So it's just an interesting business.
So but your customers are doing everything. I mean, I think sometimes we think of people retiring, they're going to go into the old folks' home, and stay there. But these people, no, it's everybody.
People
doing
are
everything.
living longer.
Yeah.
And they're traveling and enjoying life, and I think they should.
Yeah.
You can lighten the load. That's what it's about.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, when I met you on our show, and we've done a number of. I've referred many clients to you and talk about what you do all the time with people. I mean, it's not just to talk about this.
Great resource.
And we've learned how to do it. And today, the advice you're giving to people, because again, you're going to be busy. People are moving here, we're moving out, we're downsizing, whatever. So the steps that we take to do this are always interesting to me. Your advice of how you get ready to do an estate sale, and you get such many things not to do for people. Don't do these certain things and do this. So let's talk about those things.
It's such a great question because so many people think I have to get rid of all the clothes, all the books, all the shoes, all the this, all the that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's going to be so much easier on your life and stress level because it's already stressful when you're moving or if you've lost someone or whatnot. Let us come in. We'll take care of everything. We'll take care of the donations at the end, wherever you want them to go. We'll take care of the trash. Just open the drawer, take what you want out, and then close the drawer, put a sticky notepad on it. And you did that.
Yeah,
you did it great, by the way, Pete, when we did your sale.
You did.
And I was like, wow. He took the advice perfectly. So it was
Joe,
beautiful.
did you hear that?
Yeah.
I actually can take advice.
Wish I could get him to do that. You guys did well.
You've known each other too long.
That's the too.
So when you get into when you first met, I go into houses and clients, and I mean the first thing you notice is stuff, and we all somehow collect stuff, and we don't want to get rid of our stuff. I'm sure you've walked into. Tell me some of the things that you walked into.
Tell them about the Grants Pass sale when we walked in there for the first time.
Oh, we've seen all kinds.
I bet you have. Yeah.
But it's
Lauren's
place. No, it's we've seen all kinds of things, but we're used to that. I mean, we're used to dealing with a lot of things. So
we've seen lately. We'll go out on an appointment, and it's they didn't listen to your show, which everybody needs to listen to the show, and really honestly, don't throw all that stuff away because those dollars will add up quick for you, and it's always nice to have some extra dollars for mom and dad if they've moved into a care facility or even funeral arrangements or just an extra couple bucks in the in the trustee account isn't a bad thing. So really limit what you throw away. If it's a voter's pamphlet from 1988 or a phone book from 91 or something like that, I understand. Throw those things away.
Throw those away. Just
the clothes, everything, even things you wouldn't think would sell, will sell. And then we do all the way up to the really high end. Klamath Falls has been wonderful to us with big ticket items like cranes and tractors and combines and stuff like that. So we sell that stuff too. Vehicles, I think we did.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
100 plus vehicles.
I was going to say, it's not just household items that
it's not a garage sale.
It's not a garage sale because, as you say, you sold my fifth wheel.
Yes, we did.
A big fifth wheel that you sold. You sold, I know, up in East Evans Creek, you sold vehicles and RVs.
There were a lot of vehicles at that sale.
So you actually sell, I mean, you really will take anything in pretty much everything?
We pretty much have a market for everything.
Yeah, we've sold things as little as a little bit of Scotch tape on, all the way up to like cranes like Lance talked about.
Yeah.
So everything in between.
18 semi-trucks to get that thing out of there.
Yes.
Really?
18. That was huge. Huge.
And somebody actually bought that.
They're taking it to New Jersey and building a bridge for a private residence.
The bridge to nowhere.
Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing what people
Wow,
people
that's impressive.
will do with that.
Yeah.
So when you come in, I mean, as we've come through and you meet with people, I mean, one of the things I know that I've been with you a number of those. I've heard you say the pitches that you make to people, and again, save things, don't throw it away, don't give it away, but you also say to the family, come take what you want or get that out of there.
That's such an important process to the psyche, to the mind, to the you have to have some closure and you have to have some things. If mom and dad want those items before they go into their little retirement facility, it's important that they take them with them, because when they're moving out of their home that sometimes they've lived in virtually their entire life.
Yeah,
We've literally pulled people out who've lived there was one on Taylor Road. Those folks, that place has been in their family. They were the Taylors. They named the road after them. So, I mean, we're talking about the 1800s. They were bringing stagecoaches on, right down, that was one of the stops. And so it was pretty crazy to pull them off that property. And they did an incredible job, but it was bittersweet for them.
Well, I think it's bittersweet for most. I mean,
for most. Sometimes it's just sweet for the client. They're like,
sometimes
yes.
you want it. Now, a lot of times you work with family, right? Family members,
many times
who have elderly parents who can't do this, and so you're going to work. You work with the families too a lot.
Sometimes we never see them. They're in Connecticut or New York or Florida, or even closer, Montana, and they just say, I just can't make it out, and there's really nothing that I need, want, or desire out of the house, and I'm going to work with Pete and Joe on this one, and thank you guys, by the way, for all the referrals. We really appreciate that. Yeah. And we'll just take care of it from afar, so they don't have to travel.
So you will take care of an estate sale. The person is still living there. I mean, they could be living there. Also, if they pass away and they die, the estate is still there. That has to be resolved and disposed of, right?
Yes.
So you do both of those kinds of work there.
And then most of the time, it shows better when it's empty or virtually empty.
Yes, well, because it's not going to sell when it's full. And I know that one.
It's tough when you open a garage and it's full to the brim. It's easier when it's open, and then they can visualize what they can do with the space. So
you don't want to sell the house. This is advice here. You don't want to put your house on the market until the estate sells over and it's clean. Yeah. Don't do that. Or you can sell them on the. You even sold stuff at the estate sale. They've sold the house while they're at the estate sale.
Pete, help me, please. Help me. I have somebody standing here who wants to buy the house. Yes.
So we try to time the estate sales around the sale of the house, because people are going to come and look at the estate sale. Maybe they want to buy the house while they're there. So it's kind of a coordinated effort is what it takes.
And it's cleaned up and it's presented really well, and it's all ready to go. It is. And I'm impressed again at how all-inclusive your services are. You even mentioned donations and the little details like that that are really that you don't think of and you don't want to think of and deal with at that time.
Well said.
You want them to deal with you, right? We got a break coming up here, but when we come back, I want to ask you guys what sells today and what doesn't sell today, and how you price stuff.
Another excellent question.
Because Tara's an expert. You guys are both experts at that, and how you deal with that when people come up and do this. Hey, what sells? I'm always amazed at what doesn't, or what is modern today. What do people want? What do they don't want? Anyway, we're with Lance and Tara Landers from Ionic Estate Sales on the Real Estate Show. We got a break coming up. We are coming right back after this. And welcome back to the Real Estate Show on KCMX News Media 880. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, with you today. We're talking with Lance and Tara Landers from Ionic Estate Sales about steps for a successful estate sale, because at some point in your life or your family's life, you will need them. You will need to call Lance and Tara. By the way, the Real Estate Show next week, we've got a terrific show coming up. Trevor Boucher, Joe from John L. Scott's going to be here, and we decided we were going to take one show during the summer and kind of talk about stories. We talk about stories, but these guys can tell stories. But real estate stories, you got to think of one that you've experienced that is interesting, okay? that kind of thing.
Well,
all
I've
right?
had a few of those. So.
We all-
How long is the show? We could need overtime.
We could write a book on those, just with us talking about stories. Anyway,
we've got to get some from these two
Oh,
today.
oh,
we
yeah.
don't want to
We
hear
got some
those
stories.
stories. We got the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll just do the good.
Makes great radio.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the last segment. We'll get that anyway. So I do want to ask you, because as you do an estate sale, because people say, well, you know, what sells, what doesn't sell, and I asked you this many times, especially as I was going through again, these things, this is going to sell. So tell people generally, as we are here in 2018, you're going to do this, you've got a house. What are the things that are selling well? What doesn't sell well? Tell us that.
We've been ending up with a lot of china hutches lately, and file cabinets
And dining room
and
sets.
desks. And the reason why, you can do everything in the palm of your hand now.
Okay.
You've got your calculator, your file cabinet, your camera, your everything, your telephone.
Yeah.
Everything's at the palm of your hand now. So a lot of those desks and file cabinets aren't selling. They still sell. They just don't sell for a lot of money.
For what they used to
Yeah.
sell for,
Yep.
or maybe. Okay.
And
China sets.
China sets are getting
Pretty
tough
tough.
because a lot of people eat on, even like when we do Thanksgiving, we do a big Thanksgiving, we go back to Seattle. We eat on paper plates. We used to eat on Grandma's
said that
china
on the
when
radio.
she was still alive, but we just don't use it.
So China, you see a lot of that, but
China.
Seeing more.
people just don't have a lifestyle with that kind of thing anymore, do they?
It's
Yeah.
just it's oversaturated the market at this point. I mean, there's so many coming out on the market because, like you talked about, the 10,000 people turning 65.
Right. And
every
everybody
day in
everybody
America.
has
Everybody kept
Everybody's
them.
got a China set that Grandma had and passed down through the generations.
or three or
so.
four sets of China
Oh,
that
man.
you've collected.
Yep.
What about other glassware? Does glassware?
Clear glass is getting tougher. If it's colored, you know, the carnival glass, we still have a pretty
Colored
good
glass
market.
and
for-
crystal sells
Crystal.
well.
Crystal.
Yeah, some
What about a
pieces.
lot of people that have silver?
Silver's
silver.
Silver's still good. Yeah, silver's still good.
Sterling silver's good.
Sterling's great. Like if it was really cool in the 60s, it's probably really cool now. The 60s movement is alive.
Mid-century modern pieces are
Mid-century
really
modern's
popular right
nice.
now.
Mid-century modern. What about antiques? When I was growing up, I mean, people spent. We used to collect antiques. Chris and I first got married years ago, and it seems like that's not cool anymore. Tell me what antiques are doing? Because people will come to you. I know they come to you and
They
say,
do.
"I paid $5,000 for this
We
lance
just-
tonight."
We just did one yesterday where a lady paid $8,000 for one piece, $12,000 for another piece, and $15,000 for another piece. And she said, "What do you think?" And I said, I wish you wouldn't have spent that much on it back then, but if you loved it and you really enjoyed it for that many years, that's okay. You know, because we all buy the car and we're like, why did I spend that much money on that?
Yeah, and you can't go back what I paid for it, because that just doesn't work. Because
It really doesn't.
You just want to cry.
That's
You wanna
good
cry.
psychology, though. That kind of soothes the sticker shock that could be coming.
Now, however, there are things that are still going up in value. You know, so
like what?
Okay,
Okay, what
so
would
like
be?
vintage trucks are crazy right now. I cannot believe the price they're getting for vintage trucks, and even vintage toy trucks. Vintage toys are super hot from the
Vintage
from
toys.
the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s. The Nintendo stuff. You would not believe how much people pay for that stuff. It's
Really?
just nuts right now.
Okay.
So I last one we had like 20 phone calls from outside of the area, from all over the country.
All right, now
asking
stop
about
right there.
Nintendo.
Now I'm going to ask you that. Now, when you say they call you from all over the country for an estate sale in Medford, so you take one of the things that I know.
It's a digital world.
Well, Joe, what they did, this is how they did this. They came into only from my experience, okay, with you guys. They came in. There must have been 10 people came in. They took everything out of every drawer. Everything was put out.
Well, that's a lot of stuff.
There was a lot of, and then the next wave came in and separated it, and they put it into different rooms and did that. And then the third wave came in and they took photographs. Okay, what do you do with those photographs? This is the part which separates, to me, a garage sale and an estate sale if you want to get some money out of it. Okay, so tell me that.
So it goes on about 18 different platforms, just from applications to websites to Facebook to Craigslist to sometimes the local paper. And not a lot of people read the local paper, but it's still important to get that in there. And then the signs we use, it just gets them there, and it seems to work.
So you put it's similar, Joe, to when Daniel Perry from airhop.com was here.
Right.
it sounds so similar to the way they do vacation rentals that way.
Yep.
Anyway, so but that's
It's not just the people that show up in the driveway that day.
no,
Right.
you put them on many sites,
Yeah.
and the other, and so you're successfully, obviously doing that. You get called. Will you sell something to somebody in New York who calls
So
you and says they see this and I want this?
What I have to tell them is, look, we have a crowd that will show up in the morning and call me an hour after the sale starts. So if we have a sale that starts at 10, I say, call me at 11. If it's still there, I will sell you the item. We'll run your credit card teller. We'll take the credit card over the phone, and then we'll take it down to a drop ship place where they handle shipping. So the client will get their money, and they'll get really good money for it.
Now, do you sell a lot of stuff that way?
No, we haven't lately, and the reason why is because as soon as someone finds out that somebody wants it from out of state, or sometimes 10 people want it out of state, they step up to the plate and they pay the price.
Okay.
Because they're like, uh-oh.
Sometimes we have people wait 3 or 4 hours before a sale starts for items.
Okay.
So
And you don't sell anybody ahead of time, do
Nope.
you?
Nope.
That's the thing that I really like about that. I mean, it's at 9 o'clock, whenever it starts, you can't come in early and think you're going to get a deal beforehand. You're going to start at the same time. And let me tell you, at my house, and I was at another one in Phoenix that you guys were at, 2 hours into the thing, I told Joe, I go, there must be 50 cars up around my old house. I can't believe how many people are there. It was shocking. It is. It's true.
We like to have fun, and if you haven't been to one of our sales, just swing by and see how we do things. If you're thinking about doing one, maybe even 5 years down the road, just swing by and say hi. And
we're not your normal estate sale company. We'll do door prize giveaways before the sale starts. We play music at the sales.
I noticed that.
We love our customers, and we like having a positive, fun experience.
And I assume you see a lot of the same people who come and shop at the different estate sales.
Yeah.
People do that a lot of time. Well, the other issue is about how you price something. All right, let me just. This is my great example. Joe, what? This is just a cup, but if this was something else, and I asked you, what is this worth? What would you say?
About $4.95.
$1 or $2 or something like that. And I go, well, how do you know what it is? I mean, you don't use this every day. You don't know everything out of that. But what I'm going to do is that you price the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Every item.
That's amazing.
Okay. Tell us, Tara, how you do that. I mean, how do you go
most
about?
of the time, we've done this for over 20 years now, so we've seen a lot of items. Very rarely is it something that surprises us. If there's something that we don't know, we do research online and kind of get a ballpark of what it goes for, but we leave leeway in there to negotiate with our customers. So, we have a lot of dealers that come to our sale and stuff, so we like to work with them and have them,
Believe it or not, the dealers are excellent customers because they know the value. And the average person coming by, they're like, I thought I saw one of those like maybe 5 years ago for $5 at a yard sale. Well, maybe you just got lucky and that item was $5, or maybe it really appreciated in value a little bit. But we like to stay on the cutting edge of pricing because it's very important to us that we get the most amount we can for the items that are in the house, because it's beneficial mutually. It's a win-win. It's a win for the client.
Sometimes it can be a challenge because we want to get the most we can for our client, but we also it's a fine balance between what we're doing for our client and for our customers.
Sure,
so they come back.
Yeah. So when you come into a place, I mean, we talked about glassware. You know what that's going to go for. Pieces, silver. You've just done it. Knickknacks. I mean, everything. Everything is sold out of these places. So you pretty much know what's going to go, what the prices are now.
And just remembering, and that's what we talked to, and remembering that we have to sell these items in 2 to 3 days. So I mean, it's a tough balance sometimes, but we're getting it down. I would like to think to science.
After 20 years, we finally have it down.
Yeah.
After 20, well,
just a couple years.
And you said that you two started at estate sales. So do either or both of you ever get the itch when you're around all these goodies?
No.
I mean,
it's so funny that you bring that up. Everybody asks us that too.
We
They're
want
like,
nothing in our lives.
Smorgasbord every day at
That's
work.
a great question.
So the mechanic has the worst running car in town because the mechanic, the last thing he wants to do is go work on a car when he's off work. The last thing I want to see is stuff. So in our house,
You got nothing in your
We're
house.
minimalists at
Nothing.
this
I
point.
want nothing in my world. No, I don't
Well,
want
you
it.
could have a boring estate sale when it's time for you guys.
We will, but that's okay with me.
Yeah.
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 Take more vacations.
More, yes,
There you
memories.
go. There you go.
Well, obviously, you're obviously successful at this. So pricing is, again, you want to do the pricing. We want to let you do the pricing. What's the craziest, most expensive thing you sold out of a state? So do you know
The
what that
crane was
might
the
have
most
been?
expensive thing, but it wasn't the craziest thing.
We've helped families sell paintings before. that
Oh yeah, that's
helped
true.
them send
Okay,
to auctions.
so we
if-
did.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? With that, we just did one at the Manor. It was a gentleman who had no family, and he gave all of his money to the church and also to his college. And his college was the major benefactor.
Wow.
And they made a tremendous amount of money. We literally got a pod, and we worked with one of the guys from the Antiques Roadshow, and we went with his auction house, and we shipped everything over there, and they made so much more money than we would have made here in the valley.
Than you would have ever
Oh
made,
my
sure.
goodness! Because we're talking about there were getting people from China and England and
Oh, wow.
Australia
Sure, yeah.
purchasing those items. Yeah,
Wow.
really unusual. A lot of stuff from like castles and
So you
unusual
Yeah,
items.
you really come in. I would think over time you would see large states that have to go and
Yeah.
smaller places. So you really see the gamut. Now, just tell people you negotiate the price with you. I mean, you're going to come and visit. You're going to evaluate. You're going to do
Yep.
that, and you're going to also take in because sometimes I know you will move people. You've moved people, so that depends on the percentage that they're going to take by what service you want them to do.
Yes.
Is how I understand that, and so that's negotiable. Much like a real estate commission is. It's negotiable. So keep that in mind when you do that. But it would just seem, again, it just seems that you'd want to use your expertise on pricing things because we would have no idea of how to do it or what
the
to
value
get.
for you.
Yeah.
Your services almost pay for themselves
Well,
in some respect
if-
for the value you can get for those items as opposed to what I could.
We've had clients literally almost fall over when they got their check going, how?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we're like,
yeah.
well, that's
Yeah.
what we do.
Well,
So,
and they have to make a living too.
Yeah.
And so this item that I'm going to sell for $5, they're going to sell it for $15, and I'm still going to pay them 34 whatever percent I'm going to pay you. I'm still going to make more money with you than I would trying to sell it for $5 here and do all the work.
I was going to give you $4.95. I
Doesn't
thought
that
that was a nice generous offer.
If that isn't the smartest thing
three
in the
for
world.
you, okay.
Now, we got a final break coming up here. I also want to talk about some of the other items you want to leave behind, food and the kinds of things that you don't think about at an estate sale, but actually work. All right.
Yep.
We're with Lance and Tara Landers from Ionic Estate Sales and the Real Estate Show. Don't forget you can check out any of our past shows at realestateshoworegon.com. We're coming right back after this. And welcome back to the Real Estate Show on KCMX News Media 880. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, with you, and thanks for joining us here in this first part of August. My goodness, you know it's football season coming up when the Ashland City Band is down to their final two concerts. They're down to the final two. It's fall almost.
I more think of it as the NFL Hall of Fame game, which took place Thursday. That's really got my juices flowing a little bit. Like, okay, it's here.
It's here, and away we go. And
We've almost
hopefully the
survived.
smoke will clear out of here, and we can get back to things. Today on the Real Estate Show, we've been talking with Lance and Tara Landers, the owners of Ionic Estate Sales. You see the green, they're marked there. You see those flags flying all over. And you guys go to Jackson, Josephine, Klamath counties as well, don't you? Those are the three areas that you're working.
Josephine County, Jackson County. We've even done
We'll go
Deschutes
all over
County.
the state.
We've done some
the
of those
right
areas
ones.
for the right one. They're fun to meet new folks.
Yeah.
It's fun to meet.
We
new
even
folks.
got offered Connecticut.
Connecticut.
One time we got offered Connecticut.
We
It
almost
didn't
went.
work out. It was a huge job, like 12,000 square foot place.
Big houses, yeah.
Big.
Well, they build big houses around here. I mean, we're going to see that too. Big and small, doesn't matter. We all collect stuff, and we all collect too much of it. Anyway, food. Tell people about. I was the first time I heard you say this, Lance, a number of years ago, was that don't get rid of your food. The first thing Chris is going to do, we're going to give it all away. We're going to do this, and I said, no, you save it. Right?
Another excellent statement. We literally just did one over on Alder Creek on East Medford, and I said, "Hey, leave the food," and he's like, "Are you sure?" We were going to throw it all away. They had it bagged for us. There was so much canned food in the garage, and it was all good.
Yeah.
All good. I mean, till like for another couple of years. and we made like $500 on their canned food. I mean, you know, we all go to the grocery store. I spend $200 at the grocery store. It's easy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like people appreciate some value, and why throw all that food away? People will buy it. And even if it is expired, we still will try and sell it.
People sell it for animal food or all sorts of things that people would do that kind of thing. I know we're going to run out of time in this segment, and I just admire what you do because I know how busy you all are. But it really is a process here. It's not just you two coming in and doing this sale and everything is done and you walk away and the whole thing's done. It really is brokers and you and attorneys many times. We get involved with attorneys who are involved with the case, whatever it is. So it really is. It takes, what does it take? It takes a village to make some of this work, to make it a successful estate sale work.
Such a great statement, because in the day and age we live, you're not alone. You have help, and using your the resources of your realtors, like you guys, you know, Pete and Joe. Ask, you know, and you'll be surprised at how much knowledge, especially you guys have. You know, just the wealth. I mean, we're never really more than like one or two people away from where we need to, you know, if we need something, we can outsource, you know, and say. But you're right. It's important to work with your realtor. They have a tremendous amount of knowledge. It's important to work with your attorney, and then utilize us too, and we can help in any way that we'll.
Well, we got into this business to help people. You know, and I think it's great because the community all comes together to help the family in this time, and that's why what our services are is we come in all inclusive. I mean, we do our very best. We go above and beyond for our customers and our clients. You know, to make it a positive, easy experience.
I think I've told you guys this story before, but I lost my dad 7 years ago. Well, 8 years ago, and I literally walked in the house, and he lived up in the Seattle area, and I called an old friend who runs estate sales, and I said, "Hey, this is a favor. I can't do this. It's too difficult. It's
too
really difficult." So that's when we're here for you. That's when reach out to Pete and Joe, reach out to your attorney, reach out to us, and we're here to help.
It's an amazing thing to see it go and work. Because in the end, the client in the end, especially if they're moving or something, they're so appreciative. And the one thing that I will say that you guys have done every time is that when they're done, everything's gone. And people who have stuff in your house for years, and I've walked into them as you have, and the people who live in there are overwhelmed. They don't know where even to begin. And we start that process, and it includes your time to come in, the time to move, the time to do these things. And if you do them all together and you plan it ahead and it works, it is the most wonderful experience in real estate that we could ever have when everything goes exactly the way we have planned. Well, I mean, and it can be done, but it takes everybody doing it together.
And it makes the lives of your loved ones and co-workers easier as well to get through the process.
Well, I mean, we've looked at it. Tara and I talked, and we said, you know, it doesn't really do the client any good if we just leave them a pile of stuff at the end of the sale. Let's just do all that stuff for them, and we'll include it in a nice package, just like you guys do with your real estate commission. I mean, you guys go above and beyond. There's probably been times where you're like, really? I got to go buy some light bulbs for these people? But you do it anyways because that's just the right thing to do. You know?
And, Joe, my favorite story of Lance, I swear to God, which convinced me that this man is so true to what he says. We had a client, and she had a number of coins, boxes of coins that her father had left her. And remember, we're going to have the estate sale in the house. She had moved, and Lance calls me and says, afterwards, he says, I went to the house and all the boxes were gone, and she had given them to all the neighbors, and she wasn't supposed to do that, you know. and this man went and knocked on the doors of this lady's neighbors and said, you got to give those boxes back. That's her estate. She needs that for her money. And he did that. It's a remarkable over and above. I don't know if I would have done that.
That particular client, we had that pulled at my heartstrings because she was going through some mental things where she was losing her capacity, that she was a brilliant chef. And she literally just, she lost her capacity as she got higher in her dementia, and she just got taken advantage of a little bit by one neighbor in particular. But the other neighbors, they just thought she was being nice. And they didn't know.
They didn't know anything.
But they were more than happy to give them back because they understood.
But you went and did that. I mean, you went above and beyond that. And that's why I admire you so much. And I thought, man, this guy trusts you and Tara with everybody client because you do and you follow through with it. It's really remarkable, and it's remarkable to watch you. I mean, we were on, I don't know how many years ago, your first time you came here, and look how their business has grown and how much we see your signs everywhere, which means to me that you both are really doing a good job.
And once Lance came the first time and I saw the logo and the finger the first time, I started seeing those darn things everywhere I went, all over the Rogue Valley. I don't go a weekend hardly without seeing at least one.
Well, that's good.
Sometimes we do 3 sales in a weekend.
Yeah.
And so all the people that you come in, and again, it's quite an operation to actually see in
very
place.
Effective logo, very attention.
Thank you.
Logo. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Now you can look them up. I mean, you can Google Ionic Estate Sales, and they can find you, pretty easily
And
as
on
well.
Facebook.
You're on Facebook and the whole thing. So when you think about that advice or whatever, think of them because they're actually terrific, and your track record is exemplary. I really appreciate
well, we
that.
want to go back. We've heard many secret, the shopper, just people coming up and saying, I really like those guys. Pete and Joe went above and beyond for us. So we hear it from our side too.
The other side,
how much you guys work, and I know you guys work tremendous hours just like we do.
But when we find somebody to do an estate sale, it's fun to me. I really enjoy it. I mean, I get Lance and we go do the stuff and we're looking and moving. Anyway, we are out of time. So thank you both, Tara and Lance Landers, for coming with us.
Thank you, guys.
We wish you well. Ionic Estate Sales, believe me, they are terrific. And again, at some point in your life, you're going to need their service, and we want to make sure that you use them. That'll do it. That'll do it for the Real Estate Show here today. For Pete and Joe, thanks for joining us here on KCMX. We're back with you next Saturday. Have a great week, everybody. God bless you all. We'll see you next week.